Good Thursday morning to you. This is the VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. This will be valid the rest of today, Thursday, through next Tuesday, August the 25th. Well, we have cooler weather, though unsettled conditions with showers and weak thunderstorm threats for utilities from time to time this weekend and into next week. The last day of heat indices that will be high will be today, Thursday. After that, things cool off considerably. Tropical weather has become a little bit more active along the portions of the Atlantic Ocean, but no threats for the East Coast. The overall situation is low utility concerns this weekend and into next week, other than sporadic lightning. And so weather systems over the Atlantic Ocean over the past 7 days, looking at this infrared satellite picture here, you can see a kind of a quasi-permanent area of low pressure around the area around Iceland. And this has been producing some blocking action with various smaller weather systems getting into effect. And it's pushed really a lot of the shear that has been knocking the tops off the thunderstorms to form tropical weather, mostly across the North Atlantic, and opening up that possibility. We're starting to see the formation now of Tropical Storm Danny. This does not look like it's going to be any threat for the eastern seaboard, so nothing to worry about there. But a very blocked up Atlantic weather pattern right now, and it's going to be worth monitoring. And looking at the model skill here, we can see that really from about the 11th through about the 16th of August, we've seen model skill really fall. The blue is the European model. It's been about 90.7. GFS not too far behind at 88.1. And we've gotten a little bit better skill here over the last few days, but it could take another dip. We'll take a look at the European model. So you're looking at this morning model run here for the European, and it continues to show a narrowing band of showers and thunderstorms that will cross New York overnight tonight. It'll get into Vermont tomorrow morning, and it loses a lot of its intensity. You can see that it gets very, very narrow and a whole lot weaker. The interesting thing is that it heads toward the eastern parts of New England, and so this weekend, especially Saturday, we'll only have a few widely scattered or isolated showers. It doesn't even look like we'll see thunderstorms. A little bit of an area of higher pressure builds inland, but interestingly, we got a lot of flow coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Again, that blockiness, and you can see what ends up happening. It's just basically the frontal boundary off the eastern New England coast then begins to get pushed back. Meanwhile, off to the west, here comes our next weather system. And something you really don't see very often is two weather systems sort of coming together, and that's exactly what this does along about Monday night into Tuesday. It looks like the period basically from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will have thunderstorms. Benign threat will have cooler temperatures, so updrafts will be a lot weaker. I don't see any cold air aloft really to speak of. And one better way to look at this is with the precipitable water. But just seeing these two weather systems sort of come together, kind of an interesting effect here. So precipitable water, always a good indicator where the moisture is, especially those darker reds. You can see this is that narrowing band, that frontal boundary. This would be valid on early Friday morning. This is about 8 o'clock Friday morning, and then in the afternoon. And it looks like the big moisture plume works off to the east of us. Then watch what happens. You can see that really Sunday into Monday it starts to return. And again, there's those two weather systems sort of coming together. And then beyond that, looks like we lose any kind of a threat for heavier rainfall as we get into the afternoon and evening hours on Tuesday. And then beyond that, well, things finally do dry out. Convective available potential energy, also looking at this, it doesn't look like that system that comes in on Friday is really going to hold any instability, so it's very weak. So any thunderstorms that do form will be embedded in elevated instability, but not looking at a whole lot of instability until we get into basically late Sunday night, and that kind of moves in from the ocean. Then you see probably your best instability here on Monday afternoon. And then beyond that, into Tuesday, a little bit of instability will try to reform and so forth. But by that time, it looks like the moisture plume is going to be off to the east of us. Looking at the GFS ensemble, you can see the heaviest rainfall will be coming in basically tonight, tomorrow, Friday. And thereafter, just some sporadic rainfall. Not a whole lot going on most of the weekend. We get into Sunday and Monday, you'll see a little bit more of an uptick there. But again, we're talking about fairly low amounts of rainfall here. And then taking a look at the total amounts of rainfall, you can see the 7-day total accumulations. Really, this is valid all the way through 8 o'clock in the morning on the 27th. So that's next Thursday. And you're looking at generally less than 1.5 inches, more than 1 inch. Looking at temperatures, we're still running the weighted averages above normal, but not by as much. We're talking about 3 degrees or so. And then 3 days later, again, this is valid through next Wednesday. And then beyond that, for the next period, it looks like we're going to be similar. So actually, temperatures running above normal, and that's going to be the main staple, as it looks like, for a good portion of August to end the month. Here's the daily highs and daily low temperatures. You can see today's high around 85 degrees in general. Then tonight gets down into the 65 to 70 degree realm. Tomorrow, not quite so warm, running about 75 or so. And then nighttime lows will drop back into that 60 degree range, or 60 to 65 degree range. A little bit of an uptick as we get into the early part of next week, mainly Monday, and then beyond that, a little bit of a fall. But generally, temperatures running above the seasonal norms for this time of year. And looking at the longer range, you can see a little bit of a downtick here in terms of temperatures, but we're looking at max temperatures not too far from our averages, or a little bit above average as we get into this period as we end the month. And then into September, it looks like, if anything, it's going to hold in that vicinity. This here is a tropical storm Danny, 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds, very, very small, come off an easterly wave coming off the west coast of Africa. It looks like it's going to be taking a track into the vicinity of the Lesser Antilles. That'll be about 3, 4, 5 days down the road. It may die a death here. We also have a little bit of a disturbed weather off to the southwest of Bermuda, and this will bear watching. However, no threat to land. It looks like something could develop according to the European model and then work its way and curve out to sea. So this is Tropical Storm Danny. This is out of the 2-day graphic tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have another disturbance that's working off the east coast of Africa. Nothing to worry about. Danny, again, is going to end up somewhere in this vicinity and may die a death. If it continues, that could be something we have to watch. And then we have this area of disturbed weather, 20% chance of cyclone formation. Not a whole lot of worries at this point, but the tropics are definitely heating up, and this is about the time of the year that this begins to happen. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.